Hello and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. President Sahle-Work Zewde reiterates government's commitment to fortify support for the internally displaced people in Amhara regional state. The president has today visited displaced persons and wounded members of the Ethiopian National Defense Force in Desse town. Habtamu Ashagri told you more.
Close to 400,000 people displaced from North and South Olo zones because of the TPLF aggressions over the past 3 months have been sheltering in Desse town in the state of Amhara. Upon her visit to the displaced people in the temporary shelters, President Sahle-Work Zewde learned that the residents of Desse have been providing support which is not adequate for those in dire humanitarian situation.
I left my 2 children in Raya Alamata town with difficult conditions. My husband brought us here in Desse. The residents of Desse are helping us a lot. I want to thank God for those people around us. I have no idea about my son. I don't know where he is. He is 17 years old. It is very hard to think of what was happening in that area. We want to return back to our homeland. Desse town residents are helping us a lot. We never forget it forever. They have never ignored us. Even they give materials they have and feed us. They need respect and credit for their good deeds.
President Sahle-Work Zewde said the displaced have passed unimaginable, heartbreaking conditions, and this is the evil consequences of war.
I feel sorry for what I have seen here in Desse town. Everyone can see how conflict and war is too bad. Apart from injuries and deaths, the TPLF attack has caused a mass-scale displacement of civilians. They have traveled hundreds of kilometers within difficult circumstances. Displaced persons are facing unimaginable sufferings to find peaceful atmosphere. This is a feature of war and conflict.
Visiting wounded members of the National Defense Force in Desse Referral Hospital, the president commended that medical staff in Desse Referral Hospital are tirelessly working to provide medical service without adequate facility. The federal government is committed to fortify support the medical staff as well as to the displaced people.
This hospital is delivering medical services which are 3-fold beyond its capacity. I have seen energetic nurses and young medical staff in this hospital. Thus, I want to thank them for their 24/7 dedicated service. Even they are working within an unfavorable environment. We are ready to provide our support for all medical staff and displaced persons in the near future. We are also ready to work to return back all displaced persons into their respective areas.
There are concerns that there could be severe humanitarian crisis in areas still occupied by TPLF since no information has been received.
Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen spoke to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The Secretary General and the Deputy Prime Minister discussed the internal situation in Ethiopia, particularly in Tigray. Guterres reiterated his call for steps towards peace and noted the need for further facilitation of humanitarian access. Regarding the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the Secretary General underlined the importance of resuming dialogue in a spirit of compromise and reaffirmed the United Nations support for the African Union's mediation efforts. Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the international community is very concerned to boost humanitarian support in Ethiopia as war is going on in the country. Ethiopia's delegation, led by Demeke Mekonnen in New York City, made fruitful discussion with delegations from Norway, Ireland, and Denmark, among others. The sideline talks helped clear illusions illusions that countries might have conceived about Ethiopia. They have consequently shown a move to increase humanitarian support in Ethiopia, Dina noted. Famous Tigrayan journalist Hermela Aregawi accused TPLF forces of obstructing aid to the people of Tigray, aiming to blackmail the incumbent. She spoke out against Tigrayan rebels that are accused by the UN for starving Tigrayans by delaying aid transport and blocking aid trucks in the state of Tigray. Habtamu Ashagri has more.
Good morning, I'm Hermela Aregawi.
According to Hausa Guardian, Tigrayan journalist Hermela Aregawi revealed that pro-rebel Tigrayans declared they don't want aid to get to people because it will make Abiy Ahmed look good. Aregawi, an Ethiopian-American journalist of ethnic Tigrayans descent working for CBS News Network in Los Angeles, was initially opposing Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's military response to TPLF insurrection. As one of the most famous Tigrayan Ethiopians in the West, she supported various Tigrayan activists, including the Omna Tigray pro-TPLF advocacy group. However, she recently began to publicly doubt and question why the TPLF refused the government's ceasefire in June and expanded its war into Amhara and Afar regions. Over 1 million more have been displaced and over 2,000 Amhara civilians massacred in various atrocities committed by TPLF since last July. After the United Nations accused the TPLF last week for not returning all 149 trucks of UN's latest food aid convoy, Aregawi expresses the concern shared by many Ethiopians that TPLF is still diverting humanitarian aid and logistics to support Tigrayan fighters instead of prioritizing non-combatant Tigrayan civilians who are starving. Since last July, only 38 out of 466 aid trucks that entered the state of Tigray have been returned, according to the United Nations. This UN statement made headlines worldwide as the humanitarian aid trucks were already provided with enough fuel for a round trip, and as more photos of TPLF misusing the aid trucks to transport its own militants was uncovered. Contradicting claims by TPLF leaders that the aid trucks ran out of fuel, the UN also released video of extra fuel tank vehicles that were already sent to Tigray. Since the Abiy government opened the Samara-Afar aid corridor several weeks ago and declared road checkpoints from 7 to 2, the World Food Programme spokesman Gemma Snowden revealed that the TPLF stealing and diverting UN aid trucks in Tigray is currently the primary impediment to moving humanitarian aid into Tigray. Several government officials are concerned that TPLF is repeating its 2018 strategy of using starvation of Tigrayans as a political weapon for the war. According to BBC, tens of thousands of Tigrayans starved to death in the mid-18th due to an ethnic rebellion, and after over 95% of Western aid money was stolen by TPLF to fund its brutal insurgency. Despite documented evidence of high-energy biscuits and other nutritious World Food Programme food brands falling into the hands of Tigrayan militants in recent weeks, Ethiopian officials said they will keep opening the aid corridor to Tigray. Even if the civil steals 99% of the food aid, we must keep standing aid if we can save even one Tigrayan, said the social cluster advisor to the Prime Minister Daniel Kibret. Due to his previous association with Prime Minister, the advisor has been one of the top victims of TPLF's cyber misinformation campaign since the insurrection began in November. As the war continues, Hermela Aregawi also asked why pro-TPLF online activists do not reveal how many Tigrayan fighters have died. but mentioned only civilians. How many young soldiers have been killed in this questionable war, she said. Similar questions about the TPLF's genocide claim propaganda were raised by many independent observers after Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy admitted the human toll of the war and visited families of fallen and wounded soldiers at the end of 2020. However, TPLF leaders refused to admit losing any soldier during the war, and some Tigran hardliners even claimed over 52,000 soldiers who allegedly died are all civilians. Since early November, TPLF members worldwide have pushed this narrative that all Tigran soldiers' deaths were civilian deaths. Casting doubt, she also asked why pro-rebel Tigrans on social media labeled the dispute since the beginning of the conflict. My perspective on Tigray evolved because of inconsistencies I have seen and heard in 10+ months, she admitted on Twitter. Critics say the divisionary weaponizing of the genocide terms has been a part of TPLF playbook for years. The people of Amhara were ethnically cleansed in Wolqayt to create Western Tigray in the 1990s. Some Tigrans today not affiliated with the TPLF are praising the courage displayed by Aragawi. For the sake of peace, we need more independent-minded Tigrans like her who opposed TPLF's war for power. After recent reports that the Oromo Liberation Army rebel faction laid down its arms, there is hope that TPLF might disarm as well if the international community puts pressure, she claimed. She remarks that the majority of Tigrans at most risk facing starvation today are the same Tigrans who had severe malnutrition and left perpetually dependent on food aid for years, while TPLF supporters and members were becoming millionaires nationwide. In addition to controlling Ethiopian military and economy at home since 1991, a UN 2015 report had revealed some TPLF government leaders and Tigrayan elite drained over $30 billion to oversee accounts since the 1990s, according to Forbes. Furthermore, the international community is showing its biased judgment against the federal government by silencing all devilish acts orchestrated by TPLF. The TPLF has committed the killing of innocent civilians, wave aggression, mass looting, human rights violation, among others, are some of the devilish acts in the state of Afar and Amhara.
The Regional Council of Oromia has formed new government and re-elected Shimelis Abdisa as regional president. Different regional states have also announced specific dates to form their respective governments ahead of the federal government formation on October 4. Alula Taklamariam has more.
As part of Ethiopia's plan to form a national government on October 4 following a general election, different regional states are either on the verge of making it or already formed new government ahead of the formation of the national government. Accordingly, the Regional Council of Oromia, namely Ethiopian, has formed new government Saturday and re-elected Shimelis Abdisa as regional president. Speaking on the occasion, re-elected president of the Oromia regional state, Shimelis Abdisa, declared the need to overcome security-related challenges orchestrated by comploiters.
The new government is expected to accomplish huge tasks. On one hand, we need to mobilize our people to fight terrorist groups of TPLF and OLF Shene and ensure the stability of our region as well as the sovereignty of our country. On the other hand, we are mandated to realize a prosperous nation that cannot bend the knee to any foreign forces.
Shimelis expressed the need to exploit the agriculture sector meant to transform the country's economy.
We will make further enhancements on the agricultural initiative to increase its role in the country's economy. Due attention will thus be given to agriculture mechanization turned soil. Of course, we will also prioritize the irrigation system at different levels. Peace and stability of our region is our prior agenda too.
The president also said his government will cooperatively work and strengthen relations with other regional states. Those elected for the council in the 6th general election organize government bodies that administer the regional state for the coming 5 years. The regional council also elected Saad Abdurrahman as speaker of the JFE and Elias Umeta as deputy speaker.
Ethiopia has the first or second nation ever to become Christian. And it was just my fortune that I booked it at the time to be able to see the Mescal Festival. And I'm just thrilled to be here to experience just a little bit of what it would be like to be an Ethiopian. I enjoy the culture, I enjoy the people that I've had here, and today is, I think, going to be one of the highlights of my trip to Ethiopia. And I would encourage anybody that if they have the opportunity to come to Ethiopia, the people are generous, wonderful, and happy. And I've really enjoyed my time here so far. Here for the festival, as you can see, people are having fun. The priests are enchanting and stuff. The tourists all over the world. I'd like to tell my fellow Zambians to please come to Ethiopia. It's a very beautiful place to be.
This festival is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to see what it's all about.
This time is good. I come for the Mescal Festival, and I love it.
Mescal, the founding of the True Cross, is one of Ethiopia's public holidays being celebrated across the nation. Known as Demera, the eve of Mescal, is warmer in both mood and color than the actual day of Mescal itself. In Addis Ababa, it will be commemorated tomorrow at the Grand Mescal Square. For this piece, though, we will head back south to Agana, a town which serves as the capital of Oja district in Gurage zone in South Ethiopia. Reputed for their hard-working culture and expansion of business across the nation, the Gurage are very serious when it comes to Mescal. Here we go.
What's up, Bruke? How are you?
Good, how you doing?
This no Zari. This morning. Betty. Hello.
Chorna Kevin. Sambusana Vastia, Kalamadeshiat, Ulchana Matar, Badiana Sambutabu.
በጉራጌ ማህበረሰብ የመስቀል አከባበር ሃይማኖታዊም ባህላዊም ቅርጽ ያለው ነው። ሁሌም በየዓመቱ መስከረም 15 ብቻ ሳይሆን ከ12
As we are here to celebrate Mescal holiday in the Gurage zone, I didn't expect to see this is where the Gurage people live, in such a fertile, semi-mountainous region in the central Ethiopia, which is about 125 kilometers southwest of the capital Addis Ababa. This holiday is a yearly religious holiday in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which commemorates the discovery of the True Cross in the 4th century. And for the Gurage people, we should all know that this festival is the most important annual event that lasts for more than a week. Even though we're just here for 3 days, I couldn't wait until I became immersed in yet another cultural event in Ethiopia.
ሲጀመር ያው መጀመሪያ ያው የቆጮ ዝግጅት ይደረጋል። ከዛ ደግሞ ያው በ13 ጎመኑ ይገዛል። ያ ጎመን ተገዝቶ ጎመኑ ቆሻሻው ተለቅሞ ምን ተብሎ ይከተፋል። ጎመኑ ያ ጎመን ተጨምቆ እንዲሞቅ ይደረጋል። በጎን ቅቤ ይሞቃል። በጎን ደግሞ ያው ጎመኑ እንዲሞቅ ይደረጋል። ያ ጎመን ከሞቀ በኋላ መጀመሪያ የተወሰነ ኮረሪማ ይጨመራል። ከዛ ሚጥሚጣ ይጨመራል፣ ይታሻል። ከታሸ በኋላ ደግሞ ቅቤ ይጨመራል። ከዛ
የዘድራጀኝ የመኸረ ሞተጂ ተባለቤት ማች ታበአጥ ማች ተጨነሺም በሃንቀታ ዝቤት እነን ጊዜ መስቀል አበባ ይኸድ
በአማርኛ ደግሞ ጨፌ ንክር ቅቤ ማለት ነው። በንክር ቅቤ ስጋ በሱ ነው የምትበላው። ይሄ በኮባ እንዴት እንደሚያስቆመች ቆጮ
እጅግ በጣም በቃ ሙስሊም ክርስቲያን የሚባለው ነገር በእኛ ጋር የሃይማኖቱ ስርዓት ይዘቱ ሳይለቅ መከተል መሄድ ነው እንጂ በእንዲህ በበዓል ሰዓት አንተ ሙስሊም ነህ የሙስሊም ቤት ወይ ክርስቲያን አይገባም ክርስቲያን ቤት ሙስሊም አይገባም የሚባል ነገር የለምና ደንጃንዳ የሜናንዳ ይንመደንዳ የገነንዳ ሰላም ቅር ያነው መስቀል ይፈርኸማ ጎታ ያሚንደ
እንግዲህ እኔ ድምፃዊ ረሻት ከድር እባላለሁ። በጉራጌኛ ዘፈኖቼ ነው የምታወቀው። እንኳን ለመስቀል በዓል ለመላው ለክርስትና ሃይማኖት ተከታይ በሙሉ እንኳን አደረሳችሁ ማለት እፈልጋለሁ።
ቶርናቄበል የለም ሳምቡሳና ባስቲየ ከለመደሽ የት ጉልቻና ምጣድ በልጀና ሰንብተበሉ
holiday in the Gurage zone. I didn't expect to see this is where the Gurage people live, in such a fertile, semi-mountainous region in the central Ethiopia, which is about 125 kilometers southwest of the capital Addis Ababa. This holiday is a yearly religious holiday in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which commemorates the discovery of the true cross in the 4th century.
ድምጻዊ ደሳሌ መርሻ ባላለው
And finally, in Kenya, the efforts of one farmer are helping to save wildlife from